According to a recent report from cryptocurrency analysis company, 2024 will be a transformational year for Bitcoin and the overall digital asset market. The company estimates that Bitcoin price could rise to around 60,000 if 10% of current assets under management are invested in post-launch. But honestly, all of us knows that it will be more than that. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and let's start. Bitcoin is never handed to you on a plate. You see it there on a plate, then the plate bashes you on the head. You wake up in the trunk of a car. It's late and you're disoriented. Your hands are tied behind your back. The trunk opens and you're tasered unconscious. You wake up on the middle of an indoor soccer field hanging from the ceiling with jumper cables attached to your nipples. You're sprayed with freezing cold water and the electricity courses through your body. Over and over, you're electrocuted and the screams go on and on. And before you give up, just before you can take anymore, when all hope is lost, the rope breaks. You lift yourself and run. You run towards what you think is an exit. Sepultura is blasting. You can't even think. You just run. You scream. You run. Through the tunnel towards the light. You just run. Keep running without thinking. You run. Then the world disappears as you begin to fall. Free fall, the only thing you feel in the rush of air around you and disorientation of spinning and going end over end. You fall so long you start to get comfortable falling. You actually accept the feeling of falling, being helpless, having no control, free falling. Study Bitcoin. When Bitcoin price was 40k in April 2021, the total market network hash rate was 150 EHs per second. Right now, at the same 40k market price, hash rate is more than 500 EH per second, so low. Insane growth, far beyond reasonable expectations. That's why the price is going to grow massively pretty soon. What's the fundamental value of Bitcoin and where does it come from? People who haven't researched Bitcoin often presume it has no fundamental value. They believe nothing backs it up. However, the reality is that many different properties of the Bitcoin network contributes to its fundamental value. For instance, the number of hodlers, node operators, and merchants that accept Bitcoin, total transaction count, and more importantly, total value transferred through the network. I would even say the number and availability of Bitcoin ATMs globally. Everything that adds to the global liquidity, availability, and acceptance adoption of Bitcoin worldwide contributes to that fundamental value. However, one of these parameters is particularly interesting as the hash rate. Bitcoin's hash rate is the connection, the bridge between the physical realm we live in and the digital one where Bitcoin operates. I love this Bitcoin wisdom. Bitcoin is based on the two types of laws that humanity hasn't found a way to break yet, the laws of physics and mathematics. Bitcoin is being mined. This means that to be rewarded with new Bitcoin, which brings inflation and debasement to all the Bitcoin hodlers, you must first do some work, protect the network, or as we call it, proof of work. The amount of work you must do to be rewarded subsided by the protocol depends on the competition. Depending on the Bitcoin's price volatility, sometimes a lot of fresh new miners enter the competition, and when Bitcoin's price dips, many of them get priced out. This is the nature of free market, supply and demand. Now let's turn our attention to the chart attached to this post. And in the chart we see Bitcoin's hash rate is yellow and Bitcoin's price is purple. In 2021, Bitcoin's price hit 40,000 for the very first time in its history. What a remarkable achievement for this project. Not long after, as though the Bitcoin toppled and dropped from 69,000 all the way down to 15,000 in 2024. About 3 years later, Bitcoin's price sits at a 40k again. What's different this time, you might ask? The hash rate that protects the Bitcoin network increased over x 3 times from 150 EHs to over 500 EHs per second. So what does it mean? Is Bitcoin 3 times more valuable today than 3 years ago? Does this mean that Bitcoin is severely undervalued? I'm not saying that. After all, the Bitcoin's fundamental value is not derived just from the hash rate itself. We already mentioned many other parameters of the network, and is Bitcoin today more widely accepted than 3 years ago? Are there more merchants accepting it? Is Bitcoin more liquid? Has the total transactions count grown as expected? What about the total value settled over the Bitcoin network? I'll let you do the analysis here, and I just wanted to draw your attention to something interesting. Bitcoin's defenses against ill-intended parties are stronger than ever before. Also, so there's about 10k Bitcoin a day being reacquired, up from 857 to 1000 before the Bitcoin ETF launch, about 100 million to 150 million a day on average net buying so far, up from 30 million to 40 million a day before launch. Volumes or inflows are increasing, not decreasing, and advisors have not started selling Bitcoin yet. They haven't even started trading yet. The Fed has not cut rates yet. Throughflation data shows inflation is under 2%. BlackRock and Fidelity are waiting for the GBTC bleed to complete as before even starting to deploy their capital, sitting on the sidelines. Major advisors are not allowed to even fill Bitcoin ETF demand orders are as the compliance comes through the approvals. And the supply is about to drop from 900 a day to 450 a day. The miners are still selling and not holding as they do normally in a bull run. Options have been filed for and have not come into the space yet to turn Bitcoin into a cash flow asset. And we got doom and gloom boomers on timelines. I spoke to a friend about the Bitcoin after FTX collapse and he said it's going to zero, so it's not worth his time. Today he maintains his position and he says it's worthless and the US dollar is what he feels comfortable holding on to. He is one of the best investors I know, but he is not willing to open his eyes to where Bitcoin is going. He has done no research, he has rejected Bitcoin before he even knows anything about it, so it is. There are hundreds of millions of people like him who are currently rejecting Bitcoin before doing any research. When Bitcoin is still around 20-30 years from now, do you think these people will still be saying Bitcoin is worthless? I think they will come around much sooner than that, and they will FOMO in at whatever price they can get. Everyone buys Bitcoin at the price they deserve. That's all the information we have on Bitcoin today. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you in the next one, and peace.